And now, CCN, Crown City News. Your neighborhood starts right now.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching CCN, Crown City News, your neighborhood. I'm Sehnita Joshua Mattison.
And I'm Paulo, Alejandria. Our top story. Residents and community leaders joined in the Peace and Solidarity rally at Pasadena City Hall last night in a show of support for the family of Michael Brown and the criminalization of unarmed African-American men. CCN's Tony Meade was there for the march. It started at Central Park.
This evening, Pasadena community will come out to support Ferguson and Michael Brown's family in a unity march to end violence. More than 100 demonstrators came to Pasadena Central Park Thursday to honor the memory of Michael Brown, the 18-year-old unarmed man who was killed by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. The group marched from the park to City Hall in a peace rally organized by local community members. It was designed to send a message against what some here say is the criminalization of African American men and to support the Ferguson community. Organizers called it the Every Life Matters Peace and Solidarity Rally.
One of the main themes of this rally and march is Every Life Matters. We want to make it known that Black lives matter just as much as everyone else's life, and especially as youth, we feel like it's important to spearhead and assume these leadership roles in this community because this is our community, and the same issues that are going on in Ferguson and everywhere else are happening here too.
Marchers chanted and some played drums as they walked north on Fair Oaks, then east on Colorado towards City Hall. The Pasadena City Council's Vice Mayor, Jackie Robinson, was one of the marchers. She says she came out to support Clark McCrae and Ife Sengold, the two students who helped organize the event. Robinson says the killing and violence has to stop.
Since I've been on the City Council, unfortunately I've had the occasion to have to deal with killings and shootings, not just at the hands of officers, but also at the hands of other community members in other instances. And I want to say that as a council member, none of it is easy.
Pasadena Police Chief Philip Sanchez was also at the event. He and other police officers watched as the demonstrators held up signs against police brutality, including one that listed 10 unarmed Black men shot by police in the last decade. Kendrick Madej, shot and killed by Pasadena police officers in 2012, was on the list. The city ultimately settled with McDade's family this summer for around $1 million. Sanchez says the Pasadena Police Department recognizes the issues and that they respect the gathering.
I think it's critically important that we have these kinds of peaceful demonstrations to express our concerns, our observations, provide feedback to local government and law enforcement, peacekeepers. I think, though, what sets Pasadena apart from other parts of our nation is that we have a healthy respect and trust for one another and recognize that it doesn't matter what color of your skin or how young or old you might be, that you have an opinion, and that might help set the landscape of how we look at issues.
There has been several vigils around the world in support of Michael Brown and African American men. In Pasadena, Tony Meade, CCN.
Pasadena residents surrounding the Rose Bowl got to give their input on how a $300,000 donation should be spent. CCN's Denise Salcedo was at the Rose Bowl's Terry Donahue Pavilion and has more on that story.
Residents met with city officials to discuss how a $300,000 donation by concert promoter Live Nation and the Rose Bowl operating company should be spent on projects in the neighborhoods surrounding the Rose Bowl. The city council proposed the projects to be funded should be $130,000 for improvement of the trails on the East Arroyo, $25,000 to improve the playground equipment as part of the Linda Vista project, and the remaining $145,000 for the loop around the Rose Bowl in the West Arroyo. These projects were decided on using 3 criteria.
Number one, we wanted it to benefit the neighborhoods around the Rose Bowl because they are the ones that mostly suffered the impact from the concerts and other events. Number two, we wanted them to be part of already approved what we call capital projects. Those are special construction or improvement or maintenance projects. And then finally, we wanted to be able to accomplish something. We didn't want to have, for example, we have $35 million in unfunded capital projects right here around the Rose Bowl. We didn't want to have a $5 million project and put the $300,000 into an account and not be able to see any results.
However, some residents at the meeting did not agree with how the money was divided.
I agree with the Linda Vista Park project because I think it'll make a big difference with a very small amount of money. I disagree on the use of it for painting lines and doing the loop because I think that can be done somewhere else.
Before addressing what projects should be funded, many residents just wanted a chance to talk about the effect the concerts have had on the neighborhood.
It was the first opportunity we had to address the fact that these were the loudest, the most disruptive, and quite frankly, the most obscene concerts we had ever had.
It was diverted often by the real issues that address the neighborhood, like noise, traffic, garbage.
Although many residents are concerned about the impact of the concerts on the neighborhoods, some stadium officials would like to increase annual events from 18 to 21 due to large amounts of potential revenue. According to the city ordinance, additional events above 12 requires city approval. After today's meeting, the proposal will be sent to the Rose Bowl operating company and the city council for their approval. In Pasadena, I'm Denise Salcedo, Crown City News.
Now for the buzz. Earlier on CCN Sunrise, which you can see on Arroyo Channel 32 in Pasadena and online at ccnsunrise.com, comedian Jimmy Dore joined us on set. He's got a book out called Your Country is Just Not That Into You, How the Media, Wall Street, and both political parties keep on screwing you, even after you've moved on. Here's what he had to say. Thank you for being here, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about this book.
Well, you know, where I came up with the title for the book is I come from a big family, 12 kids in my family, and you learn a lot about life growing up in a big family. And I think the biggest thing I learned is I'm easily replaced.
Oh my God, oh, I hope they didn't make you feel that way.
I knew if I died, it wasn't going to put a big dent in their plans. I can't imagine my mom sitting around, oh no, Jimmy's dead. What am I going to do now with just the 11 of you?
That's terrible.
So I have a good sense of when people aren't that into me. And what the book is about is I talk about the people who run the country, and it's not our elected officials. It's what George Carlin referred to as the owner class, the people who own our elected officials and own our corporate media too. And they pretend that we have a choice in our people who run our country, which we don't. I'll give you an example. The last election was really important because it was Mitt Romney against Barack Obama, and if Mitt Romney would have won, we would have got Romney Care, but Barack Obama won, so we got Romney Care. So you see how important that was, right? Because so we're going to get whatever the corporation wants us to get, and that's what I talk about in Your Country's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah, so if it's Romney Care, half the country's upset. If it's Obamacare, the other half is upset.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's
just half the country pretends it's not.
Just what you call it.
Yeah, and what does it really matter anyway?
Yeah.
Speaking of people just really upset, we've got Eric Erickson from Red State Blog.
Thank God.
And, oh boy.
Thank God we've got Eric Erickson.
I know. He just provides a lot of humor.
Yeah, otherwise we'd have to get a monkey.
Well, he's talking about women's, it was just Women's Equality Day, but it seems like some folks just are just not into equality, because he was talking about how female breadwinners, they were saying that there's 40% of households have female breadwinners now. And he's saying, oh my God, that is against science. All the liberals are always talking about science, but that is anti-science.
It's funny. It comes back down to science. There's a scientific predisposition.
Because has there ever been a bigger defender of science than RedStateBlog.com?
Exactly. Now they're all of a sudden talking about it.
He is correct, though. It is bad. It's really bad for single moms to try to raise kids. I mean, the last time I saw a single mom raise a kid, he became president. But other than that, so this Eric Erickson, he's really sharp. He's not the sharpest knife in the knife thing. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, but is this kind of indicative of what a lot of people might think?
I don't know. It's indicative of what a bunch of idiots might think, and morons like Eric Erickson. Thank God we keep asking that guy for his opinion. Eric Erickson, who said that feminists are feminists because they're too ugly to get a date.
Because he's a looker. He's a looker.
Oh boy, isn't he?
Well, you know what? I think what happened was Eric Erickson's wife forgot to write on here. I have this calendar. She forgot to say, it's no longer BC. We're actually in AD
It's
here.
in AD.
So, what she forgot to do is we're not in biblical times anymore.
That's right.
So, we might not agree that if we've evolved from monkeys or not, but we have evolved.
We
so
have
let's
evolved,
move on.
right.
And it really just kind of like downplays, like we're all different. We all have our own different predispositions. There's some women who are more comfortable in the workforce, and there's some guys who just want to just stay at home.
And this guy's a product of a single mom making it happen.
Yes, I am a proud product, and I don't.
So it's
still
just
a work in process, though.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
I mean, that's the kind of, just ignorant kind of statements that are just there to, it's like chum for the morons, that gets them riled up and everything. But as if people who are raising kids aren't all doing the best they possibly can.
And there's lots of scenarios out there, and he can't just speak, make that comment and speak to them all. The next topic we have is talking about media double standards. There was a shooting in Utah of a young unarmed white man in Utah. His name is Dylan Taylor, and he was shot by a black officer. So of course they're saying, where is the outrage here? Why aren't there, protests in Utah, the same as in Ferguson? Why aren't we hearing about this?
So when you say they, you mean race baiting ignoramuses on the right. That's what you're talking about, right? Because that's what they're doing. They're like, why aren't you upset? Well, I don't know, maybe because there isn't a history of black police forces suppressing white minorities, right? It's been the other way around. So that's why there isn't. I mean, these guys, is it too big of a concept for these guys to understand that there was 400 years of slavery in America? There's institutional racism. And if you look at the news every night, you see evidence of that. Michael Brown, Eric in the selling cigarettes. So it's all over. So, and the point is, the white people are supposed to be the ones who would then rally. Why doesn't Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and RedState.com? You're the ones, if you're upset about this, if you think there's a problem with black police officers oppressing whites, you're the ones who are supposed to have a march.
Well, let me just ask you. I mean, is it right for us in the media to kind of exploit those 400 years and kind of magnify these instances?
But you know what? The media didn't create the protests that are happening in these communities.
But it's the media that's shedding light on it.
On what? On what? The Ferguson protests? I think we should be shedding light on that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a big problem with the militarization of the police in America. I mean, you see that the kids graduating high school in Ferguson have to borrow each other's gowns, but we have MRAP tanks, and but they don't have tasers, and they don't have dashboard cameras. So we have our priorities upside down in America, right? And in the middle of the biggest reaming from the military-industrial complex and Wall Street, people still find time to be angry at minorities and immigrants. And what have immigrants ever done for America except everything?
Absolutely.
Except build it.
Well, Jimmy, we're going to have you back. We have more conversation to have with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Lots of nuances in these stories. When we come back, we'll meet a Pasadena artist who walked 33 miles to empower others to do good.
Michael Bing Bing Taylor joins us to tell us why walking to Long Beach felt like going full circle.
Today we're moving into a new house. Mom and Dad got a home loan at the credit union. Mom says they helped us pay for our cars too. Mom and Dad use Pasadena Federal Credit Union cards to buy little things too. Dad says PFCU provides one-stop shopping and good interest rates. I don't know what that means, but it must be interesting. I'm just happy my sister and I each get our own bedrooms now. It's great that PFCU helps people buy things they need. Thanks for making our dreams come true, Pasadena Federal Credit Union.
And now, CCN Crown City News. Your neighborhood starts right now.
He walked 33 miles from Altadena to Long Beach in an effort to show people the power they have to change themselves and their community. Pasadena artist Michael Bing Bing Taylor talked to us earlier on CCN Sunrise. Here's what he had to say. Thanks for being here, Michael. Now, what inspired this walk?
Yeah, why?
33 miles.
You know, I just wanted to demonstrate something positive. You know, there was a lot of negative going on in the world, and I just wanted to kind of balance it out by demonstrating something positive.
Did you think it was like the right symbolic gesture?
Yeah, I mean, instead of just jumping on the bandwagon, you know, with the whole thing that's happening in Missouri, I just felt like I'm going to do my own thing, but it's going to be positive. And if we're going to do anything, we're going to demonstrate good things.
So did you talk to people on this walk, or is that what the inspiration was, to really like bring the community together?
Yeah. Well, it was really to reach out with people, engage with people along the way, take pictures, and really demonstrate unity by example. And we were actually able to do that.
Has the plan always been to do the walk in Long Beach, or did you have?
Yeah, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. It kind of just felt right, you know. I just had to do something extreme, and that was something that it was feasible. I could do it, you know. It's nothing but a walk, you know.
So what did you hear from people as you were walking? What were some of the stories? Who were some of the people you met?
Yeah, just ordinary people. There was, you know, some people weren't open to receiving the message, but more people were. We spoke to people in Linwood, Southgate, and Long Beach.
What kind of things were they saying to you?
Well, it was really more what I was saying to them. You know, I was kind of trying to look at it from their point of view and see how, you know, a young brother just walked up to them with some positive stuff, you know. And I think it was well received.
But some people were kind of taken aback by like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some people, they just have a closed mind, and they, you know, and it's not their fault. You know, we are where we are on our journey. Everybody's on a different journey, so.
Now,
you know.
You grew up in the foster care system.
Since birth, yeah.
So how difficult has it been to, you know, just stay positive and kind of have a direction when you've been in the foster care system?
Oh man, it's been a challenge. But I will say this. I will go on record of saying that, you know, the foster care system for me has been a blessing in disguise, you know. Because of the system, I've been able to have, you know, shelter and 3 square meals and things like that, as opposed to if I would have grew up with my family, things would have probably been a little more harsh.
Is that something that you realized at the time while you were in foster care?
Oh, no, after, for sure.
Adult lessons, right?
Yeah. So
in hindsight.
When I turned 18 and I was reunited with my biological parents, it kind of made me realize that, you know, I kind of felt like God, you know, put me over here, you know, and kind of, you know, allowed me to grow.
Just the belief that everything kind of happens for a reason. Yeah,
exactly.
This journey.
Speaking of that, why the walk to Long Beach? It was kind of full circle for you to get there, right?
I mean, it just had to be, you know, everybody's making history. You know, I just had to offset the game. I had to do something that was different than nobody else did. I'm not saying no one else did it, but no one else made it like that.
You mentioned to me that you were walking on Atlantic Boulevard and you happened to see the school that you'd gone to.
Oh, wow.
Tell me about it.
So we roll into Long Beach. We're on Atlantic Boulevard. We took Atlantic all the way. And as soon as we roll into the north end of Long Beach, we see a 99-cent store. Once I see this 99-cent store, it just brings my old neighborhood back when I was a foster kid in Long Beach in 2001. And right down the street was Lindbergh Middle School. I just took a quick detour. And it was beautiful. I went to the front of it and just, you know, went on record of saying how I attended there. And it was a beautiful thing. That's not something you can buy.
Yeah,
you know,
that's awesome.
It's priceless.
And it was personally fulfilling for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what's next for you?
I'm trying to walk 39 miles with Avon for breast cancer awareness in Santa Barbara. But if I don't reach the fundraising minimum, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm going to be walking for Alzheimer's later this year in November.
You're just going to keep on walking.
Oh yeah,
you're going to be like the Forrest Gump of walking, right? Keep on going.
I'm a walking. Yeah.
It's a whole new approach to pursuing music. I'm trying to do the whole charity cause and music mix, and just demonstrate positive things to the up and coming.
Very good. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and sharing your story, and tell us about your walks when you're out there. We'll be back with Money and Market segment star Bob McClure, who's talking about bonds.
With interest rates so low, he'll tell us how investors have fared next.
Ability First's professional business services can meet your many key corporate needs. We serve the Los Angeles area, offering warehouse services, secure document shredding, and light industrial staffing. Ability First Business Services stands for quality service and competitive prices with a higher purpose.
Ability First is a professional organization providing excellent services to Lowry's restaurants for more than 5 years.
With your support, we'll continue to develop jobs for adults with disabilities in our communities. Call us for a quote today, 866-766-2006.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Your mom just had a heart attack, and the ER doctor asked if she has an advance directive. Are you prepared?
How are bonds faring with interest rates so low?
Our Crown City News Money and Market segment star Bob McClure has the answer.
You know, the thing is, in the United States, there's more than 3 times as many dollars invested in bonds as there are invested in stocks. The reasons why so many people put their money in bonds is pretty obvious. They pay specific interest payments on set dates, and on a future date, they pay back your principal at maturity. Stocks, on the other hand, try to pay quarterly dividends, but they're not legally required to, and the stock price can obviously fluctuate, and there's no guaranteed payback period. So with this being said, bonds have a lot less risk. Therefore, they tend to have lower returns on a long-term basis. If we look at this first chart here, we see that if you bought a 30-year U.S. Treasury at the beginning of this year, you would have got something around 3.9% annual interest payment. That interest payment, if you bought that same bond today, would be down to about 3.1%. It's fallen about 22% over the course of the year. If you compare that to the gain in the S&P 500 of a positive 9%, you can see a pretty big disparity. But here's the thing you have to bear in mind. Just like housing prices, bond prices tend to rise and fall in the opposite direction of interest rates. So as interest rates has pushed down during the course of the year, the actual price of that bond that you bought on January 1st this year has probably risen quite a bit. Just like housing prices increase because you can buy more house as interest rates decline. So here's what's happened. That 30-year Treasury that paid you 3.9% at the beginning of this year, interest rates have dropped. It has actually risen in value 17%. In addition, you tack on the year-to-date earnings, which is probably about 3%. You've made about 20% on your money, more than twice as much as if you had invested in stocks. So while we've heard a lot about the Fed pushing interest rates down and the low interest rates that investors in bonds have received, the actual bond investor who bought and held the very risky 30-year Treasury has done quite well. Now, here's the problem. In the months going forward, or years going forward, as the Federal Reserve starts to push interest rates up, bond investors could suffer substantial losses. When that'll happen, or if it happens, and to what degree, we'll have to stay tuned. Paulo, Sehnita?
Well, we are staying tuned for that, Bob, so you'll let us know when it's time to cry Mary.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on my crystal ball and let you know.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, great. Retirement can be difficult for some.
Mary Winters talks about how seniors can find a sense of purpose when it's time to retire in Senior Solutions next.
You just received a call from the hospital and found out that your mom fell and broke her hip. Are you prepared?
Today my bike got a flat tire. I should be sad, but I'm not, because 6 months ago, I went to Pasadena Federal Credit Union and emptied my piggy bank into their Coinstar machine. I put the money in my kids' club account, and they even gave me a Sammy Rabbit book to remind me to save my money. Dad says he and Mom can save money too in their new savings account. Now I have enough to pay for a new tire, and I still have money left over. It feels good to do things myself. Thank you, Pasadena Federal Credit Union.
After taking a cruise around the world or catching up on all your favorite classics, many seniors are left wondering what's next.
Mary Winters was here to help seniors find a purpose in retirement in the Crown City News Senior Solutions segment.
Mary, thanks for being here. So it's really for seniors, it's about finding that balance about getting a little bit of rest from all that hard work, but getting out there, doing stuff.
Right. So after a few weeks, we're going to get bored and we need to find our purpose.
Yeah, don't
correct?
completely shut it down.
Exactly.
You got to keep the motor running.
Exactly. Exactly. But as a gerontologist, I also know that when you have purpose, it creates longevity and quality of life in your aging process. So what is that and how do you find it? Purpose is what really gets you up in the morning, what motivates you and excites you. So how do we find that? I look at that as a threefold situation. So we look at what you're good at, what you love doing, and what you're able to commit the time doing. And when those three intersect, you wind up having this sweet spot that creates this wonderful purpose for an individual. So when I sat down with my client who was a caregiver, Sandy, she was a fantastic administrative assistant. And she was good at organizing things. And we sat down and decided, what would help you create your purpose in retirement now, especially something that can help redirect some of her time away from having to be a caregiver on a routine basis, give her an outlet. And so she decided with her organization skills to go over to the senior center and help organize some of the events that they did there. Joe was a truck driver in his working years, but he loved having a garden and cooking. And so he really looked at his interests, and together we decided to really focus more on his garden and to set up opportunities to be with family and friends to cook. So he wound up creating this wonderful opportunity of planning to have friends and family over, discuss his garden, and it created a wonderful purpose for him. And what is the real benefit actually in creating this purpose? We know that it helps to reduce depression, it creates clarity and purpose in your day, and it's something that just helps to really put some kind of life into your life. So really look at what makes you happy or what you love, what you're good at, and also what you're willing to spend time in doing, and that will help you to create your purpose.
Thanks, Mary. You know, it's so hard because some people are so excited about retirement because they get to do all those fun things. Right. And other people, you know, like it's the dreaded R word. It's hard for people to wrap their head around.
Right, and you have to drill it down to what you really like. So when you create the clarity to have that focus and your purpose, that's when you really thrive.
Stay golden in your golden years.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Exactly.
In our second half hour, author Priya Rana Kapoor gives you the permission to take back your life.
And comedian Jimmy Dore was back with us on thoughts on whether Burger King should still be treated like corporate royalty. Next.
Ability First's professional business services can meet your many key corporate needs. We serve the Los Angeles area, offering warehouse services, secure document shredding, and light industrial staffing. Ability First Business Services stands for quality service and competitive prices with a higher purpose.
Ability First is a professional organization providing excellent services to Lowry's restaurants for more than 5 years.
With your support, we'll continue to develop jobs for adults with disabilities in our communities. Call us for a quote today, 866-766-2006.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 68 children is diagnosed with autism. That's about a 30% increase in 2 years. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Staring contest! You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
And now, CCN, Crown City News, your neighborhood starts right now.
We're back with our second half hour of CCN Crown City News, your neighborhood. We're local TV news for Pasadena and the San Gabriel Valley. I'm Sehnita Joshua Mattison.
And I'm Paulo Alejandria.
Our top story, Congresswoman Judy Chu is asking President Obama to declare the 600,000 acres of the San Gabriel Mountains a national monument. The U.S. Forest Service held a community meeting to discuss the proposal and help push it forward. CCN's Sylvia Pareda has that story.
I'm here in Baldwin Park where the U.S. Forest Service is holding a public discussion to possibly declare the San Gabriel Mountains a national monument and for a better upkeeping and preservation of the Angeles and San Bernardino National Forests.
Community activists and residents of all ages came together to express their concerns for more conservation of the San Gabriel Mountains and forests. They called on the Obama administration to declare the area a national monument.
National monument now!
The turnout for the public discussion overwhelmed the 400-person capacity venue, and staff had to direct large groups to wait outdoors, forcing Chief of the United States Forest Service Tom Tidwell to address the groups outside.
This is our first meeting, and we're out here. I'm out here today because of the level of interest that we've heard from these communities about pursuing an opportunity to find a way to enhance your experiences, your use, your enjoyment of the San Gabriel Mountains.
We need it so much. We take kids camping from our church, for our community.
I'm also a big youth advocate, and I know that many of our youth, especially youth of color, don't have access to parks, or if there is a park close to them, it isn't very safe sometimes, or sometimes it's too far for them to get there on their own.
32nd District U.S. Congresswoman Judy Chu introduced a bill this June for the federal government to consider the San Gabriel Mountains a national recreation area. Chu also wrote a letter in early August to Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, to take into account community consultation, which was also signed by 5 members of the California Congressional Committee. The Congresswoman says she is pleased the administration is taking note of the area's calls for protection of natural resources, but to consider moving forward and urged Secretary Vilsack and the USDA to take into account local needs and concerns. Local community leaders and movement organizations also attended the event and expressed their concerns for the San Gabriel Mountains.
It really is a beautiful area that should be preserved, that should be enjoyed, and it should be enjoyed by all of these residents. I think it's very important that the Obama administration take a look at the true benefits that our communities get from being able to join and enjoy our San Gabriel Mountains.
Estamos aquí en este movimiento porque deseamos y queremos que los bosques se beneficien y nuestra nación americana tenga un futuro efectivo.
As you can see behind me, a huge and unexpected turnout showed up to support the San Gabriel Mountains and their conservation. Not many were able to be accommodated inside, but they did make sure that their voices were heard. Reporting from Baldwin Park, Sylvia Pareda, CCN.
A local organization gives high school dropouts and at-risk youth a chance to gain employment skills through technology. CCN's Andy Rocco has that story.
We are here in Altadena at the Computer Technology Center, where Neighbors Empowering Youth is hosting their annual award ceremony. Technology has come a long way. During the ceremony, the audience was able to Skype with President and CEO of Neighbors Empowering Youth, John Smith.
Thank you all for taking out of your bid to come and help support these young people.
Neighbors Empowering Youth, or NEY, is a nonprofit organization which strives to address problems of juvenile delinquency and high school dropouts. The center provides computer hardware, software, and training materials at no cost to participants.
It changed my life because at first I always wanted to be in computers and I didn't know anything about it.
Former students of the center and volunteers expressed their gratitude. Luis Salas was a former student who benefited from the program and is now working for DreamWorks Animation.
Then they offered me a job here, part-time. I came here, worked, and I gained the experience that I needed to join DreamWorks Animations.
Congresswoman Judy Chu also made a guest appearance and awarded NEY a certificate of congressional recognition.
That's why I have to congratulate you, and that's why I brought a certificate of congressional recognition to you. Neighbors Empowering Youth, thank you for being such a great...
NEY's EDGE program offers classes in computer repair, graphic design, and robotic programming.
There are actually 3 complete programs in graphics design, another program in robotics, and a new program called TOPS, which is a technical operations program, teaching young people entrepreneurial skills, soft skills, and actually technical support skills, how to start their own businesses. So we're teaching kids how to act as if they're the CEO of their own companies. And essentially what NEY does is we light them on fire about technology, and then we let them do the rest.
The EDGE program helps students discover their passion for technology and places them on a college-bound track. In Altadena, Andy Rocco, CCN.
For The Buzz, comedian Jimmy Dore joined us again earlier on CCN Sunrise. Here's what he had to say. And we are going to be talking about Burger King. Savvy business or unpatriotic? What are your thoughts on this,
Well,
Jimmy?
the bad news is that Burger King's moving to Canada. Even worse news, Arby's isn't going anywhere.
I like my horsey sauce.
What's wrong with Arby's? I think, first of all, Burger King's owned by a Brazilian equity firm, so it's not even really an American company anyway. So I don't really, it's one world. It's a brown world now, right? So I don't know why General Electric is allowed to send their jobs to China, but they can't send Burger King to Canada. I don't understand what the problem is.
People are not necessarily happy about GM being in China, I would imagine.
Good point. I just changed my mind. You're
Okay,
right.
look, you made him change his mind. Good job. But
Okay, you did mention it is owned by a Brazilian equity firm,
Right.
but they did have their headquarters in Miami, Florida. So,
Right.
I mean, they're still collecting American,
Right.
they're still contributing to the U.S. government as far as tax dollars.
Yeah, shouldn't we put a tariff then on them if they do that? I mean, I don't know. Isn't there things that we can do to kind of protect Americans' economy? But they don't do that anymore because corporations run everything, and they want to be able to move their companies where there are less taxes.
Well, that's what they're talking about with Canada. There actually is that deal, that
Yeah.
50% of their companies have to be Canadian owned. So that's why Tim Hortons can't move here.
Right.
So Burger
He can move there.
So I don't
Right.
understand this. I mean, you use American infrastructure to build your brand to get this money.
And we're talking about over a span of 50 years they've been in business,
Right.
like
Yeah.
here in the States.
Well, I think
So
we should.
just,
I think we should start a war with Canada, and they're so nice and affable. I think they'll just give us the
I
country.
think
It's
you
like,
and the guys in South Park.
Right, eh?
it's like, oh, we'd like to shoot you, but you guys seem nice.
Blame Canada
lovely
for
people.
all our problems. I'm going to let you start off on this USC hoax because I don't understand what's going on. with all
Josh
this
Shaw.
hoax.
Hero one day, villain the next. Your thoughts?
So what happened with this guy was he's a star football player for USC. He said he was saving his nephew from drowning and he had to jump off a second-story building to do it. And he
a fantastic tale of
He hurts both
how
of his ankles, and it turns out that was a made-up story. You have to make up a story to cover your hurt ankle. How was he hurting his ankle in a?
So
was he in a
which
strip club? How
brings
did he
the
hurt-
question: why did he have to lie?
That's
What
what I'm
exactly
saying.
happened?
Which brings to question, what was he on jumping from a second-story
Well,
balcony? Come on, I mean, something is
Oh, you
fishy
think
there.
that's what it is? You think something was? He might have had a substance in him that made him do that.
We don't want to
something to cover.
speculate until anything is finalized, but I mean, that is a rumor definitely swirling around. I've heard alcohol being thrown in there.
It's got to be more than alcohol to jump off a second-story building for that kind of injury,
Well, it
and then
certainly-
to make this tail up.
It wasn't marijuana, because if it was marijuana, he would be jumping in the pool for Twinkies.
Exactly.
Or he'd be way too mellow.
Yeah,
I'd love
probably.
to jump and save my nephew, but
Well, I
I'm a
mean,
little
just some
sorry.
interesting things that what we do know. There was a 911 call placed for a domestic disturbance call, which he was a party to.
Oh, really?
So
maybe he was running.
So maybe you got to put on your Columbo detective hat and put.
Yeah.
Like, how did this happen?
Maybe he was running away from someone who was angry at him, a young lady maybe, and he had to get out of there
And this
save his
football
ass.
player had to run away. Well, USC is not having good times right now.
Well, I mean, the program, from what most people can see, has been on the mend after the Reggie Bush scandal in 2010, which just devastated the proud program. I mean, they took away his Heisman. They didn't recognize the BCS championship bowls won during his tenure. Now it just seems like things were on the mend. You know, they got Steve Sarkisian. You know, there's some good excitement, and then bam, we get this.
Well, and there's the other player who just quit.
And now, yeah, we
What
have
was
another
his
player
name?
that comes out of the woodwork saying that the new coach is racist, which If you're racist in athletics and you're a coach, you're
pretty
probably
tough.
gonna have a problem.
That's a pretty.
Maybe find another line of work.
Yeah, I think maybe we should start paying these college kids. Maybe they'll have a better year. That's what I think, right?
There you go.
against the
You've
principle of
got all
amateur
the
athletics?
answers. So to get all of your answers, you just got to read Jimmy's book. Your country is just not that into you. Thanks for being here, Jimmy. Priya Rana Kapoor is up next to talk about her book, Give Yourself Permission to Live Your Life.
And a little later, we'll find out what the mad chef Dave Matthews is cooking up.
Today we're moving into a new house. Mom and Dad got a home loan at the credit union. Mom says they helped us pay for our cars too. Mom and Dad use Pasadena Federal Credit Union cards to buy little things too. Dad says PFCU provides one-stop shopping and good interest rates. I don't know what that means, but it must be interesting. I'm just happy my sister and I each get our own bedrooms now. It's great that PFCU helps people buy things they need. Thanks for making our dreams come true, Pasadena Federal Credit Union.
Your mom just had a heart attack, and the ER doctor asked if she has an advance directive. Are you prepared?
Life coach and author Priya Rana Kapoor gives you permission to do you with her book, Give Yourself Permission to Live Your Life. We spoke to her earlier on CCN Sunrise. Here's a short excerpt from her introduction. This is her book. Many people are in careers and lives they feel they never completely choose for themselves. Suddenly, they see that many of the decisions they've made over the years were done in an effort to fit in or gain approval. Some made choices based upon what they believed their parents or society had told them were appropriate or worthy. Somewhere along the line, they stopped following their own hearts. One decision led to another, and they lost track of their hopes and dreams that they had in early adulthood. They thought that by putting themselves first, they were acting selfishly. They hoped that by conforming, they were making the right decisions, maybe the easier ones. However, somewhere deep down, they now battle with the insidious feeling that they are not as happy or fulfilled as they could be. They are in a place where they no longer even allow themselves to think about what they might want to do or be. That's great.
Inspired reading there, Sehnita.
Thank you. I do Shakespeare too. No, I don't.
That was lovely. I've never heard anybody else read it, so that's amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to just note your name, Priya Rana Kapoor. So is your background from India or Pakistan? Or?
Indeed, India.
Okay.
Yeah, my father was Indian.
I can really relate to that feeling of like what your parents want you to be. I studied pre-med because that's what good Indian kids are supposed to do,
exactly.
right? And then I got out of college after spending a lot of money and thought, I don't want to be a doctor.
Good for you.
So what was your inspiration for the book?
Well, my inspiration was, I'm a life coach, so I work with a lot of high-end people, well, high-end as in successful, that we think are successful because they earn a lot of money.
Right.
They're in banking, they're doing really well, they went to the right colleges, they did everything the right way. But all of a sudden, they've got everything they're supposed to have or supposed to want to have, and they're not happy. So I just thought, oh, hang on a minute, what's getting in everybody's way? And it's really that they're not giving themselves permission to live their life.
Is it because they have these things, but it wasn't necessarily their design?
Exactly.
And that really kind of says something to you subconsciously.
Exactly. And their parents have said this is what you're supposed to do, or society, your socioeconomic background dictates sometimes what you're supposed to do on every spectrum.
And you're not living genuinely at that point. Is that where
No. Yeah, you're not living genuinely, but you're living for other people. And that takes away a part of your soul, I think.
You know what? I was just at Starbucks yesterday, and I was talking to the barista there, and we were just chatting, and he said he was going to PCC, Community College, and I said, what major? He said, sociology, but I'm just not happy about it, but now I'm stuck. I'm like, what do you mean you're stuck? He's like, it's just not what I want. And I'm like, then change, do it. And he was like, it was a new concept to him. So this concept that you have seems simple, but people aren't doing it.
No, and it's really hard, and people actually get quite offended when I say, well, you're not giving yourself permission. I say that to my clients. They say, why wouldn't I give myself permission? I'm perfectly educated, and why wouldn't I do that? And I'm like, well, think about it.
Mind-forged manacles. I would think.
Sorry, what was that?
The mind forged manacles. I think that's just the limitations we put on ourselves, just through time. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're imposed by society and imposed by our inner core as well.
So I mean, does this kind of speak to like just the power of yes? You know, you just because I've been doing some reading too, and just that word yes, it just kind of opens you up. And is that kind of what the liberating of your philosophy?
Well, yes, it is. And I think sometimes a lot of people say yes to a lot of things that they don't necessarily need to or don't
say
want
yes to yourself.
Yeah, but I think it's really knowing that you matter.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here. There's so much more to talk about in your book. In fact, talking about creating a dream team.
Yeah.
So people are going to need to pick up your book, Permission to Live Your Life. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank
we
you
appreciate
very
it. Please
much.
come back again.
I will.
We need some life
Lovely.
coaching here.
Up next, CCN's Your Home segment star Lee Cuellar is back to tell us what remodeling projects provide the biggest bang for your buck.
Will the jacuzzi tub pay you back? No, but my back will be happy, that's for sure. We'll be back with more.
Today my bike got a flat tire. I should be sad, but I'm not, because 6 months ago, I went to Pasadena Federal Credit Union and emptied my piggy bank into their Coinstar machine. I put the money in my kids' club account, and they even gave me a Sammy Rabbit book to remind me to save my money. Dad says he and Mom can save money too in their new savings account. Now I have enough to pay for a new tire, and I still have money left over. It feels good to do things myself. Thank you, Pasadena Federal Credit Union.
You just received a call from the hospital and found out that your mom fell and broke her hip. Are you prepared?
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Wine cellars, steam showers, man caves. We're allowed to dream big about our dream house, right?
But CCN segment star Lee Cuellar is here to tell us which remodeling projects will really increase the value of your house.
In today's real estate market, it seems like every day somebody's asking me, hey Lee, what are the best home improvement projects that I can do to maximize return on investment when I sell my house? And you know, that's a great question. And according to national studies and surveys, here are the top 3 projects. Number 1, the major systems in your home. We're talking about heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical. If a potential home buyer comes to visit your home and sees that one of those systems is going to need work right away, chances are they're going to move on to another house. Number 2, you have outdoor projects. Things like swapping out old windows and giving yourself a new garage door. These are great, affordable projects that you can do, and they're going to give you great curb appeal right away. Third, think about installing a new bathroom. Just adding half a bath to your home can add up to 10% to your home's value. Add a full bath, up to 20% to your home's value. Of course, these values are going to vary based on the other features in your home. So when you're thinking about selling your home, see to those major systems, swap out those windows and garage doors, and think about adding another bathroom. Those are the top 3 home improvement projects that are going to give you the best return on investment when you sell your home. Paulo and Sehnita, back to you.
Well, he's no turkey, and to prove it, he's gonna fix up one mean turkey burger.
Just in time for all your Labor Day barbecues. Next in Taste of CCN.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Well, it's not quite November, but it's never too early to gobble gobble. Isn't that right, Matt Chef?
Okay, well, since we're gobble gobble, this is a good Labor Day celebration. So what I did today is we're going to do turkey burgers. You're going to each make your own turkey burger. And then I've got some root vegetables today.
That's why I made the Thanksgiving pun, by the way. Turkey.
Turkey.
You got it?
You
got it, right?
You are setting me up for
Now
we got it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about just a really fun technique that I learned this past week. Melon ballers work wonders on vegetables, and especially for
watermelon,
kids.
But
okay,
this.
yeah,
this
I
looks
learned
interesting.
this week, and I want you to practice this. But
Yes,
basically,
sir.
you're just going to take your ball, your melon baller, and you're going to take out segments, just like that. And we can roast them, we can pan fry them. There's all kinds of things we can do. So I want you to practice on that. And we're going to
on the carrot?
Or I want you to start
this
with
is
that
a little
one.
bit more of a bigger palette.
And I'm going
All
to
right.
give you this one, Sehnita.
And what's this? I haven't
is
cooked with this.
a turnip.
A turnip.
Which I absolutely love, turnips. Now, the other thing that I
Well,
wanted
watch
to
out there, buddy.
I'm getting all excited. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was making stock. Remember we've talked about it, what to do?
I've taken up your stock recipe. I've been
Okay,
doing
so here is a great thing. So every time you peel your vegetables or you cut them, put them in some cellophane and put them in your refrigerator.
People think they're, they come into my refrigerator and they're like, what's this? I'm like, trust me.
Mine too.
Trust me.
But it's crazy. I worked this week with a bunch of master chefs, and we saved every single piece of skin, every piece of rind to make stock. So that's how we do it. And there's no need to go out and buy vegetable stock. You can make it yourself. So
I'm doing that too.
you're going to do
Awesome.
that as well. I want you to practice that.
Okay.
So the other thing I did this week was I made a quinoa salad with fennel. Fennel is something that a lot of people don't really use very often,
what
and
is
it's
fennel?
delicious. Well, this is what fennel looks like,
Okay.
and it has a
those are
bulb
pretty.
at the very end of it. But you can actually take this fennel and you can use it as an herb. You can chop it up really fine and then season your items that you want to cook with.
Okay.
It's wonderful. Fennel has a very licorice type flavor.
And that would scare people off sometimes,
And
right?
it's a funny looking bulb when you look at it. You're thinking, oh, do I really want this? Do I really want to try it? But it's wonderful once you delve into it and you just decide to try it. And it's not very
Make the
expensive,
punch.
and it's wonderful. But what you do is you just slice it up really thin. You take the bulb and you slice it up super thin. And then I marinated it in some lime juice and some orange juice. And then I put some sliced green Granny Smith apples in here. And I topped it on some quinoa, along with some segmented orange wedges and some toasted peanuts. And if you haven't had toasted peanuts, let me tell you, they are, it's heaven. It's a piece of heaven when you eat a peanut that's been roasted yourself.
I like peanuts anyway, so.
But you will love these. Wait till you try it. So that's the first thing.
So do you get blanched peanuts and then roast them in your own oven?
You roast them yourself. So this is perfect, guys. So basically what you're going to do is, in order to save time, I have created this already.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry
this
about
morning.
Paul's into that project.
You did a really good job.
I think I went a little overboard here. Do I have enough?
That's perfect. That is perfect.
All right.
So.
Look how pretty. And my son will eat that because he'll help do it and then he can pick at it.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
it's a finger
awesome.
food, right? And let me tell you, I did this with my niece and she was like, oh, I don't like turnips, I don't like turnips. And she ended up loving turnips, parsnips. We've used every vegetable to play around with. I pan fried these this morning or sauteed them just a little bit to give them a little bit of flavor and a little bit of butter and water. So that's it. Now, let's go ahead and assemble our burgers.
These turkey burgers,
oh my gosh, because
You're
they
gonna
smell
love
so
these burgers.
good.
So what I did this morning is I actually ground my own meat. So I took the dark meat of turkey and I put it into a meat grinder and I added some seasoning. I did some onions and some garlic and some salt and pepper, a little bit of oil.
And the actual ground beef?
It's actually
ground turkey.
And ground turkey.
Ground turkey, yeah.
So I made that myself, and hopefully you'll love it. I think you will.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with
You
turkey
will
burgers.
love it. I know.
In all our years together.
All our years together.
We're old folks over
so
here.
This salad is actually really, really easy to make.
Now
And
what is this you're dripping on?
well, I did some beets last night, some
Beets?
golden beets. Yeah.
I thought it was like mandarin oranges.
I roasted them
What do
last
I know?
night. I roasted them last night, and then I kept the juice. I did a little vinaigrette for it, so I just poured that on top.
So wait, you roasted them in the oven and
I
then
roasted the beets in the oven in some foil, a little bit of olive oil, some foil, and then I peeled them. And then last night I let them marinate in some rice wine vinegar and some salt and pepper. And these are
Tasty.
delicious. Okay, so let's get your burgers going.
Burger time.
Burger time. So I have everything that you need for a burger here. I've got some red leaf lettuce. I've got some red onion. I've got some tomatoes. We've got some
this is my favorite
ketchup.
part.
We've got some Dijon mustard. This is actually really amazing mustard. It's sweet and sour at the same time, and then we've got some mayo. So I tried to be prepared for you guys for everything.
I love concocting burgers. That's my favorite thing.
And then we got to have blue cheese. Got to have blue cheese. Do you like blue cheese?
I do like blue cheese.
Thank God.
I've been converted. I didn't
Okay.
used to. I'd be like, that smells.
So let's go ahead and get started. You guys can start making your own burgers. There's a plate for you, my dear.
Thank you, thank
And a
you.
plate for you.
Thank you.
And a plate for me.
Here you go.
Go ahead.
Awesome, thank you.
The great thing about turkey burgers, oh, come on.
We're having Mary join in because she smelt the burgers. I'll give you this plate.
Here, you can have this one. I'll let you have that one.
Okay.
Perfect. So go ahead and start your condiments, and you've got your
After you,
Labor Day
please.
celebration here.
I love
It
that
is
Mary
so
just
delicious.
jumped in here. Where are you going to start? All
You
right.
can start wherever you like.
I'm going to.
Ladies first,
Watch
please.
out,
I've got a
folks. I'm
spreader
putting some
here.
onions on.
There's more blue cheese if you need it, but we're all set.
Look how dainty and small.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, excuse me one sec.
Oh. Okay.
You've got to try this quinoa, guys. It's amazing, this salad.
Wrap
I'm
it
gonna.
up, Sehnita.
Now, what about some people who are a little worried about quinoa? You know, like not used to
Not
it.
too used to it. You know, I think if you try it, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how fantastic it is.
All right.
Great.
It's such a multi-grain. Now, what I did with this quinoa last thing was I roasted it.
Okay.
I roasted it in a pan first.
Well,
So
it looks delicious.
I washed it and
Unfortunately,
roasted.
we do have to wrap it.
That's it for now. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for supporting our show.
Big thanks also to Jimmy Dore, Michael Bing Bing Taylor, and Priya Rana Kapoor for joining us in the studio. Thanks also to our crew, and especially to you out there for watching us. See you next time.
And we'll leave you with more music from Bing Bing. Have a great day.
See me creeping in the game, but they be cheating on your board. Who me? I've been breathing on the floor, feet been bleeding from the sores. I've been seeking the Lord for more, cause my situation urgent. I anticipate with courage every Sunday, 11:30 service, to remind myself who I'm serving. I'm here to hear the sermon, holding on to each and every word with faith, cause when you get out, and where you gon' go, and how you gon' do it. it on your own. The job is real. I can feel them inside of me. That's why I'm trying to hold on. Oh Lord, I'm trying to hold on. But I'ma climb this mountain. I'ma conquer the hill. Ain't no reason in pouting. Only keeping it real. To be in position of power and redeem what's rightfully ours.